And thank you for sticking with us on this Sunday morning. Well, as you know, summer is officially here, but also hurricane season is officially here as well. And now we are talking to Luis Reyes. Now you are with MVEC. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Yes, thank you. So hurricane season, I mean, just this past week, we got all this rain, and that was just a little taste of what hurricane season can bring.
That's correct. And one of the things that Magic Valley wants to remind, our RGV residents is that planning is the most important step into staying safe. Flooding was a big issue this past week, so it is important to have an evacuation plan as a family, and that includes, having to call other family members. If you have family members outside the valley, that may be one of the routes that you may want to take, because it is important to stay safe. That is the most important step into being safe this hurricane season. For us, a lot of the things that people may not know, though, and I want to talk about the control center. A lot of times, there's different outages, and people think, hey, they're not coming to my house, right? We want to remind everyone that the control center at Magic Valley, it is monitored 24/7, 365 days out of the week, and we always have crews on standby, ready to be deployed to restore those outages. Flooding is a big issue, right? So sometimes it's really hard for us to get to that home. We do it in the safest way for our employees, but also in the safest way for our members. So it is very important that we follow those steps as to being safe.
Yeah, definitely. And so with this water that we just experienced this past week, I mean, how do you guys kind of deal with that when you're trying to go back out and restore power? And I know you mentioned you only had about 3,000, which isn't that bad in comparison to what it could have been, right?
That is correct, yes. It could have been a lot more, though. We only had about a little bit over 3,000 members without power this past week. But, one of the things that we do, though, is we do have an emergency plan in place. We have 3 different levels. We did not activate that plan. Again, we were not expecting that much flooded. But just, so that members would know, though, we do have 3 different levels. Level 1, it's activated within 96 hours of the hurricane or a big storm approaching the Rio Grande Valley. 72 hours, of the storm, we activate level 2. And then if the hurricane is going to hit the valley, obviously, level 3 would involve, the recovery, first the landfall recovery and restoration process. But last year with Hurricane Harvey, we activated level 1, and we were lucky that the hurricane did not pass through the Rio Grande Valley, but that wasn't the case for other co-ops. So one of the things that we actually end up doing, though, is we actually sent help to sister cooperatives, in the Victoria area. They lost 22,000 of, they lost power of 22,000 of their meters. So their entire system was wiped out. So we sent crews, we actually sent 10 of our guys out there, 5 crews that were there for about a week and a half or so to restore everyone back on. So those are one of the benefits, obviously, of a cooperation with other cooperatives. And it is very important that we stay together, cooperatives and other utilities, especially when it comes to the recovery stage.
Most definitely. No, I know you said that you have plans in place. Now, do you kind of use things like this as a preparation or as a practice and to kind of prepare yourself for a bigger?
That is correct, yes. So every year right before hurricane season, and even during hurricane season, we always have, as the co-op, we always have those meetings in place saying, hey, it's right before hurricane season. What changes can we make to the emergency plan? We learned from other cooperatives this past year of some of the things that we need to do. So, that's one of the reasons why we develop a hurricane preparedness guide, for our members, so that they know some of the things that is important to them. You guys do an excellent job, reporting the weather, the news, which is something that it's very important for our members to know. So one of the things that we want to remind members is the steps of restoring power. A lot of times, we follow 5 different steps, and that includes making sure that the transmission lines are the first ones to be restored. It goes into the substations, then it goes into the tap lines and the actual homes later on. So there's 5 steps. A lot of times they think, well, why am I without power for the past 2 hours, right? Well, we're following steps. And when we have, 3,000-4,000 members without power, it is very hard for us to restore, those outages right away. So that's some of the steps that we have to follow. This hurricane preparedness guide, it's a way to help our members stay safe. Having an evacuation route, it's very important. One of the things that is in this hurricane preparedness guide is a go bag. Those are some of the things that you need to have in place. What are some of the things that are important? Having some water, some food in that go bag, because you just never know, especially when it's going to get flooded. You need to be ready. And those are some of the steps that we know it's very important for our members to know. And having a plan, I always want to remind people that it's very important having a plan in place. And if you need to evacuate your area, if the authorities are telling you to do that, then do so, because it is very, very important to follow what the authorities are telling you, and especially when it's going to be flooded in the areas, especially here in the valley.
Definitely. I know it shows in there, that go bag and the disaster relief to kind of have. Now, what are some things, and when should people start to kind of collect that stuff? So as far as water or maybe canned food or kind of a plan.
Exactly. So having that plan includes, when can we make that decision, right? So I always tell people, right before hurricane season, make sure you have a plan in place. And if that includes having a go back, plan as a family. Hey, if there's a storm approaching and it is, 72 hours, just like Magic Valley, right? 96 hours, then maybe we need to start doing that, From the members' perspective, then if Magic Valley is doing their own emergency plan, then what can we do as a family? Let's do the same. Let's follow the same steps, and maybe having a go back, having a plan in place is what I think it's very important. And also be prepared, to have outages before, during, and after the storm. Those are some of the things that I think is very important. A lot of times people are always asking, sometimes we may lose the phone lines, right? So what other ways that we can report outages? For Magic Valley, we have 3 different ways. They can do it through the app. They can also do it through our website. So those are the 2 different ways. And then also by calling. So I usually tell people the website is the easiest way, or the app. A lot of times people want to use the phone, which is great. They want to talk to someone, right? They want to be reassured that they know that we have outages, right? So it is true. It's very important. But a lot of times, we have thousands of people calling, right? So if for some reason they can't get through the phone lines, again, having that app, having that reporting the outage online, it's very important. And I guess the last thing, it's, how do I know if you guys are restoring outages, right? So on our website, we do have that in place. We have a map where it shows, the outages that we have, and then also they want to know, they want to stay up to date as to what are we doing, how are we restoring those outages. We always show information on our Facebook page, also on our website. It is showing, hey, we know that you are without power. We are working on that. And, part of the emergency plan, it includes, if we need additional resources, that means asking other cooperatives to send their crews to the Rio Grande Valley, then we do that. That is also part of our plan in case that we know that we need those additional resources. So it's very important to have that in place.
Right, of course, most definitely. And can people pick up this hurricane preparedness guide? Is that something that there's available to them as well?
That is correct, yes. So they can stop by at any of our 4 offices. They can, pick one of these. If for some reason, they don't want to, they can always go online. We do have a hurricane preparedness section on our website. They can download this information, even if it's just printing out the, what do I do on my go bag, right? So I know it's there for them to print out, and if they want to stop by any of our 4 offices, they can do so, and we have those available.
Perfect. And again, if they have any questions, I'm sure that they can talk to somebody there.
That is correct.
Any little, what do I need? What should I do?
That's correct.
Maybe help with their own plan to kind of
That is correct. Yes. One of the things that we were looking at is, maybe next year, as we continue to enhance our preparedness guide, maybe as Magic Valley providing additional resources for them, and maybe having, maybe doing a video, right, of how to prepare a go bag. So we may need you guys to help us out with that, right?
Of course.
But it's always one of the things that, we want to make sure that we are working together with the community, working together with you guys, so that with the county, with everyone, so that they know that, hey, we are doing our best to make sure that the Valley will be ready for hurricane season, and we'll do our best to make sure that everyone is working together.
Definitely, of course, preparing is the key to kind of staying safe this season.
That is correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Luis, for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. Well, when we come back, we are talking about the Harlingen Freedom Fest. We have all those details you won't want to miss. Stay with us.